Guys, you ever like something so much that you hate it? Well, I'm hating it because it's eating all of my .357 Magnum ammo. This thing's consuming more lead than a Roman plumber. I was down at the local gun store a few weeks ago and saw something that I could not live without. Of course, right now I was trying to just keep some money in the bank, so I decided to trade off a 9mm that I no longer shoot. Now, some of you guys might ask me, why would I trade a modern day 9mm, which is higher capacity and easier to shoot and easier to reload and all sorts of things, over a single action wheel gun? Well, I'll tell you what, I have plenty of 9mm, and this wheel gun just spoke to me. It is a Taylor's Drifter in .357 Magnum. And man, that case color hardening is gorgeous. The octagonal barrel tripped me over the top. I just couldn't help but run home, grab that 9mm and dispose of it. So $185 difference between the two of them, and I walked home with this thing and could not be happier. I've been blasting this thing the last couple weeks. A new camera kind of cost me some memory card footage, but trust me, I have been consuming all sorts of lead with this thing. So now, much to the chagrin of the purple-haired cubicle dwellers at YouTube, let's slide over here to the tailgate and give you a good close look at this thing. And boom, here it is. You can see why I fell in love with this thing. That case color hardening is gorgeous, and that octagonal barrel just set this thing right over the top. I probably would have bought it with a round barrel, but that octagonal was just too much. Matter of fact, I fell in love with this thing so much that I have ordered something that might kind of match up with it. Should be in very soon, hopefully. You know, with the way the world's going, it may take a minute, but I do hope that this one has a buddy very soon. Of course, everything about this thing has been rather smooth. We've got 3 clicks. I know lots of guys freak out because it doesn't have the 4 clicks like the original, but I'm not too worried about it. When I'm in it and I'm enjoying it and I'm shooting it, it doesn't bother me a bit. Just as crisp as glass, and I am pulling 2 pounds 2 ounces on my trigger scale. Now this thing shoots really nicely. I am very sure that the octagonal barrel adds just enough heft to this thing that 38 specials are absolutely tame. .357 Magnums aren't bad at all either, but this extra weight out on the nose, it doesn't affect the balance like you'd think it would. You know, it's not nose heavy, but having this extra weight on the front end of it definitely helps the way that this thing shoots. I'm really liking it. Now, I wouldn't change anything on this except for possibly this laser engraved etching right here. That's the only part that comes off on this thing as cheap, is where they've just laser etched the hammer rather than throwing a diamond checkering pattern on it. But other than that, I really like it. I actually like the glow of these grips. You know, they've got that really nice kind of a gloss to them. I kind of think I might actually just take and order an extra set of grips just so that I can scrape them and do like Mark Novak did for my little Remington 514. I think this right here with that kind of a semi-satin with a little bit of red tint to it, I think that would look really, really good. But other than that, I don't see any modifications that need to be done to this thing. I know I am going to change my ammo and try to bring my point of impact more true. As you can see, I was shooting just a little bit low, just right off center. And if you're not aware, on these single action armies with just this blade front sight, what you do is you'll actually file it down to change your point of impact, your elevation, and then you'll take a little hammer and peck this thing left or right to bring it back. But I think if I can get a hot enough .357 Magnum load, which what I was shooting was actually pretty hot. It's 158 grain that thumps the hand really nicely. So I was shooting some pretty decent .357 Magnum, and on steel it looks like it shoots pretty good. I'm gonna have to put it on paper just to make sure. And you know, as for getting my point of impact right on this thing, it might be fun to do a handgun hunt this year. I don't know if that's going to work out or not, but I think it's on my possibilities. So here's the box. It's just a normal cardboard box. It says the New West has arrived. Now I do really like this sock that they ship it with. It's just a Velcro sock. You can slide it right in there. I really like that for keeping it from getting scratched on other guns and things now that my safe is getting a little more full. But yeah, that is a really neat little sock. Padded nicely. Of course, we have this worthless lock. And we have our owner's manual. Now this manual doesn't have to be very involved because a revolver isn't crazy involved. There aren't a whole lot of things to go on around this. So let's go ahead and get this back out of the way. And yes, it's old school, but dadgummit, they're not just something therapeutic by hand loading one round at a time and just taking your time. I mean, it really does make you slow down and work on your fundamentals. And I am proud to say that this thing won't break your cell phone either. I had this laying in the cup holder for the ride over here. I plugged my cell phone charger up and I went to put my cell phone into the cup holder as well. My cable got snagged on my transfer stick. Yes, I actually have a transfer case stick for my four-wheel drive in the floorboard of my truck. And it got snagged on it and that cell phone come flying out of my hands and that screen dropped down on this hammer and I said, oh no. I flipped it over and I said, wow, that's cool. So now I hope you've enjoyed this look at the Taylor's Drifter. I know I'm definitely enjoying it. You know, I could have gone with a caliber that's just a little bit more traditional, but for my needs, you know, having younger kids too, I can load 38 specials for this thing, and I've got tons of 38 special brass. I've got loads of projectiles, and it's very thrifty on how much powder you actually have to use, especially in today. That is a consideration. So with this thing being in 357 and 38, I don't think I could have chosen anything any better. I'm definitely loving my decision to purchase this. I am absolutely happy with it. Just everything about it. I mean, even the lockup, just not even a wiggle on lockup. This thing is just a solid little piece. I feel like if you were to run out of ammo and you still needed it, you could use this thing to bludgeon Sam Squatch. I mean, even if Sasquatch was coming to bother you at night, you could bludgeon him with it. This thing just feels that solid. But anyway, y'all have a wonderful day. We'll see you next video. I love you, and I love my new Drifter.